Chapter 11, Capacity Planning, Segment 3, Economies and Diseconomies of Scale. So, in considering economies of scale, larger facilities are generally more economical because fixed costs can be spread over more units of production. Why? Well, you have more units. So, if your rent on your building is $10,000 a month and you're producing 10,000 units, that's $1 per unit relatively, right? And if it was 100,000 units, then it would be 10 cents a unit. So that's what they're really talking about as far as fixed cost. Second one, the cost of buildings and equipment does not increase linearly with volume. So let's say that you are making 100 parts a day, 100 parts a day, and you have used up every square inch of that facility to make those 100 parts a day. Now, let's say that your forecasts give a strong indication that you need to start producing 105 units a day. 105 units over 100. Well, if you're going to have to add an addition because you are out of space, so you don't add just 5% more space to meet that need. Because what happens if in 6 months you need 10% more, then you have to add another 5% onto it, that 5% of the building that you added onto. So you can see it would become a real mess. And so by being non-linear, that's what we're really saying, is that if you're going to go from 100 units to 110, you might increase your building size by 50% so that you don't have to keep adding little bits here and there. So, next question. One large facility incurs more transportation costs to deliver goods than do two smaller facilities. Why? Think about if you and a friend live in two different towns and you're doing a daily delivery, newspaper delivery. Okay, I know you really don't do that much anymore, but let's say you do a newspaper delivery because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Well, if you were to live in Normal and your friend was to live in Champaign, you could split up that territory, and you would, at most technically, you would have to go halfway to Champaign, and your friend would have to go halfway to Normal, Bloomington Normal. But if you were to only have one facility, and let's say if you were lucky enough to have it smack dab between Bloomington Normal and Champaign, well, you are going to, instead of being 25 miles towards Champaign and 25 miles towards Normal from Champaign, now all of a sudden you are having to go not only the 25 miles to Champaign, but you also have to cover that territory that's farther away from Normal. And so at the end of the day, if you were to draw a line of the territory, you'd have a lot more territory you would have to cover in that one facility, even if it was centered, as compared to two smaller facilities that were somewhat evenly spaced apart. Total travel time from each facility would be less. All right, next question. Timing of capacity additions factors. Well, you say we need to increase our capacity. What should we take into account? Well, one thing that you should take into account is you should preempt the competition. Just like I talked about McDonald's and Burger King, what you may want to do is you say, you know what, we seem to be expanding our business towards the West Coast, and our competitor is not. So let's go ahead and open up a new facility on the West Coast to tap into that market that our competitors are not currently, accessing. And so you may preempt the competition. The other option you can do, which is problematic, is wait until demand develops and the need for more capacity is clear. What is problematic about this approach is your competitor may have already preempted you, so you may say, well, let's just wait till there's a need for this. Let's make sure there's a need for this. Meanwhile, what may happen is that your competitor may grab a good, if not all, of the market share, a good portion or perhaps almost all of the market share, and you're kind of scrambling to pick up the scraps of what's left over. So that is one of the problems of waiting until demand develops. All right, we're going to stop for this segment and we're going to wrap it up with the next segment.